welcome to the Spotlight Show. I'm your host. My name is Jabez Napoleon of Valley. And like I always say, I'm always excited, to be with you on every Sunday afternoon. So remember, this show is broadcasted live from the city of Toronto, from the studio of GBKM, and we're live right now on YouTube. We're live on our app, GBKM app. So go to, App Store if you're using Android, or, Play Store if you're using an iPhone, and download the app. It's very, very user-friendly. It's very, very good. And of course, go to our website, www.gbkn.fm. So I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and of course, good evening, because we have viewers from across the globe. And I don't know what your time zone may be. You may be watching us live right now. You may be watching the recording. I want to say I appreciate you and I thank you so much. So please go to our YouTube channel, GBKM TV, like, subscribe, and of course, put on the notification so you can know when this show is live. And of course, the best way to watch is actually on our app. Okay, guys, download the app and you have your phone always with you. Our shows come up, you get the notification. Thank you so much for taking your time from your busy schedule to be with us this Sunday afternoon. And of course, if you get this show on your WhatsApp through a recording message you have shared, why not share it as well and let people benefit? All right. So special thanks to all our viewers and our supporters all across the globe. We love you, we appreciate you, and we are very, very grateful. And I want to say quick thanks, and we appreciate our corporate sponsors. I want to say quick thank you to African Young Entrepreneur AYE, based in South Africa. They have a wonderful platform called the Entrepreneurship Trust Fund. It's a platform by an African young entrepreneur, and they encourage their members to be able to save and get a loan in 59 seconds. No interest, no collateral. It's sometimes hard to believe, but you have to try it, guys. So it doesn't matter where you are. Even in Canada, you can participate as well. So go to www.etrustfund.org. It's an organization I am also part of. So guys, it's wonderful what these people are doing for African entrepreneurs. No more need to rely on government. Thank you so much to Imani's Place, www.imanisplace.org. It's a wonderful shelter for women here in Canada. Thanks to Pan-African Arts, Culture, and Trading Institute as well. Check them out, www.pakati.org. Daniela Corporation, check them out, www.danielacorp.com. Wonderful organization. And of course, Top Run Consultants. I say they are the leaders in IT training and certification. I've taken courses with them myself, so the trial will convince you. Go to their website, www.toprun.ca. It doesn't matter where you are. Right now, the pandemic has made everything virtual. So you can get virtual classes, you can get virtual instructor-led training, you can get certified in different IT certification. You're looking for a career change, or you're looking to network, build your resume or network with like minds, so that way you can get project knowledge. Why not reach out to them? And of course, I want to introduce you to Dunamis, mydunamisfood.com. Wonderful, wonderful platform. I check them out and they are very wonderful. First of its kind. Trust me, guys, if you are like me, you're of African descent, you like African food, you know what, we live. For those of us, so my viewers in Africa, you may be wondering, okay, what's so special? I'll tell you what's special. Canada is so big. Car is a necessity. It's not a luxury. People have to drive. But my Dunamis food will actually bring the food to you. So we're talking about not cooked food. We're talking about, ingredients for food. You're looking for, rice, beans, palm oil, looking for anything at all African. Go to their website. It's www.mydunamisfood.com. You can shop conveniently and get your food delivered to you in 1 day or at most 2 days, depending on weather condition. And why do I like them so much? They guarantee their product, and of course, they have, safe return policy at no cost. And of course, why I like them is that they always notify you when your order is coming. Okay, guys, so check them out. Support, African businesses, support black businesses, support, businesses out there within your community. Let's help people grow. Today's topic is very interesting. Why? Especially those people that all over the world, guys. This is not a laughing matter, but this topic is quite interesting because when I actually did research, it was mind blowing, some of the information out there. What is today's topic? Why is China investing in Africa? Can you answer that question? Why is China investing in Africa? People say that China is taking over Africa, China is buying Africa, China is giving out loans to Africa that many of these African countries cannot afford to pay back. People are saying that some of these loans are layered and layers and layers with interests and charges, that, some of the infrastructural development is overvalued or overpriced. But guys, what is the data that supports some of these notions? But that is why we have the Spotlight Show. We go out there, do heavy lifting, and bring you what? the facts and the data, so you can make informed decision. Whether you like it. So, see, guys, I like to smile because I'm naturally a happy person. Okay, guys. So whether I like it or not, no, this is the fact. So listen to me now. Whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, Okay, the fact still remains that Africa is the new land of opportunity for speculators and investors. It's the truth. Okay, although there is no shortage of risk, the continent is home to vast amount of resources. Okay, the fastest growing class of millionaires and even the world's fastest growing city. I did some, an episode, couple of, I think a few years now, maybe last year, just at the middle of the pandemic, and we're talking about, population growth and how African countries are going to lead. Right now, we said the most populated nations are China, India, and America. In the next couple of decades, all that is going to change. Okay, guys. Today, the place to invest in is arguably the emerging market. They call it the emerging market, but I call it the emerging market. The place to invest in right now, believe it or not, guys, it's always like that. When electric vehicles started, there's so many naysayers. When cryptocurrency started, there's so many naysayers. Those two sectors alone have made people multi-billionaires. Okay, now let's talk about Africa. There's this man, Doug Casey. He's an American. He's a famous speculator. He's a best-selling author. He's the chairman of Casey Research. He has routinely said that if he was a young man, he would look at going to Africa rather than going to college. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, because I'm asking myself, what am I still doing here? Okay, not only that, he also speculated that Africa will add millionaires at the highest clip of all regions in the next decade at 53% growth rate, which means that Africa growth is just beginning. Ooh. I said today's topic is quite interesting, guys. I'm not going to be talking about the negative side. I just want to give you facts. You be the one to judge, okay? That's why this show is very, very impartial. Could this be what China has discovered? Is there something else? This is not the first time world powers rush to claim Africa. This is not the first time. Trust me. I don't even think it will be the last. You understand? Because everybody's attracted to sources. Everybody's attracted to whatever benefits them. Okay? It's you that knows the value in your hands. If you don't know the value in your hands, someone else will understand that value and take it from you. Simple economics. Okay? So what does everyone else see that most African and even most African government don't see? And that's why we're going to talk about this show today, which is why is China investing in Africa? Okay, let's go straight to that. Okay, so I'm going to share an image with you. Okay, this is an image from South China Morning Post. It's a news media outlet. This is very nice infographics, and this infographic dates back a couple of years ago because China has long sought to close economic relationship with developing countries. It's a known thing. China goes everywhere. They can benefit and prosper, whether it's country, regions, or continent. But with Africa, the continent that hosts more developing nations than any other, China has tried to foster closer link with Africa. And why is this? And we're going to talk about this today. So let's take a look at this study by South China Morning Post, looking at these infographics on the screen right now, which visualize how much money China is putting into Africa. Why I like this infographic is very, very nice because you can see the map of Africa and you can see that China is all over Africa. Man, they're putting money all over Africa. This is 2015. So we're going on a journey. We are going to start from 2013, 2015, 2017 to 2019, 2020, guys. It's very, very interesting. But as far back as 2015, the countries in yellow, Burkina Faso, I believe is Guinea-Bissau, Central African Republic, Somaliland, and Somalia were the only countries that had no Chinese money invested. Okay. However, in many other countries, China was heavily invested. And you can see that from oil pipelines to railway connections to ports with Chinese engagement, they have been investing heavily. Why? Why are they investing so much? Because US used to be one of the biggest investors in Africa. Okay. But now China took over. And why is that? And that's why I want to share with this image. But now we've seen some of these countries that Chinese has invested in. We've seen some of these countries a few years back that Chinese didn't invest in. So we're going to go on a journey, and we know some of the things Chinese money is doing in Africa. But let's find out, based on sector, where is the money actually going? So we go to the next image. This is a very, very wonderful image. A lot of people may not understand it, but my first degree is mathematics, so I like numbers. I like charts. It makes me understand quicker. It summarizes a whole lot of context, in diagrams. To use charts. So I'll explain that to you. If you look at this image, it was done 7 years ago in 2015, and it shows where China is putting their money in Africa. Okay, as at 2015, China invested in 46 African countries out of the 54. 46, almost all. Okay, mainly with a focus on metal, energy, and infrastructure. Very key area, because metals, energy, and infrastructure is very key for a nation to develop. Very, very key. And I wonder why, the British Empire, the American government never did all this, and why China is doing it right now. But we're going on a journey. I'm not here to blame anybody. I'm not here to speculate. Let's just take a look at the numbers and let's see what it says. So far in 2013 has been the peak of Chinese investment with an equivalent of 44 billion spent. That's a significant amount of money. In 2015, South African president, if you remember, a few years back, over a decade now, not really up to a decade actually, less than a decade. We're talking about 6 years ago. Chinese president went to South Africa. It was hosted by the South African president during the Forum on China-African Cooperation. During that conference, the Chinese president announced they had a budget for African cooperation be tripled to 60 billion. Okay, this includes 5 billion for aid and interest-free loans, 35 billion for preferential loans and export credit, and 20 billion of capital to be divided between three Africa focus funds. So they are pumping good amount of money into Africa, and these are some of the sectors that they invested in. You can see they invested in agriculture, they invested in energy, even in finance, in metals, in real estate, technology, tourism, transport, and utilities. And these are the core, I call it the core foundation for any country to develop and become, an independent nation, to be able to produce, and consumption, and of course for export. So this is what Chinese was investing money in. You understand? So I was wondering, are they actually trying to make African countries self-sufficient? Because for a long time, this had not really happened in Africa. People just come, manufacture, come back and sell it to Africa. So why is Chinese now investing in infrastructure, railway, roads, seaport? Okay, is it for them to bring in their goods, or is it for them to take out goods, or is it for the benefit of the African citizens in these various countries? So we're going to take a look at some of this investment in Africa. But before we do that, we're going to go on a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to look at why substantial Chinese money in foreign direct investment is going to Africa. Sit back, relax. Let's go on a quick break, and I'll be right back.
My name is Carol, and I'm currently a project coordinator. I took the project management course. I learned a number of things, one of which was interview skills. I learned about the Agile framework and how that's very different from the waterfall model of project management.
At Top Run Consulting, the key unique area that we try to focus on is not to just impart certification knowledge, but the application of real-world tools.
Back in June 2017, I did the business analysis course at Top Run. I learned the basic and advanced skills and tools to be successful in business analysis field.
Are you craving some home-cooked African meals but are missing the authentic ingredients? No worries. Head over to Dunamis Food online groceries at www.mydunamisfood.com to check out our collection of the best quality African and Caribbean foods. From swallows to spices to meats and produce, expect top quality customer service and have your groceries delivered to your door when you shop at Dunamis Food. Don't forget, go to www.mydunamisfood.com and get a taste of home. It'll be like you never left. Dunamis Food, keeping you smiling always. Nous vous gardons toujours le sourire.
Welcome back. You're still on the Spotlight Show. I'm your host, JP's Napoleon Ogbole. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Spotlight Show. Today's topic is why is China investing in Africa? We show some of the history of Chinese investment and which sectors they are investing in and how much and when this started. So we're going to go why is substantial amount of China's money going to Africa in the form of foreign direct investment. Okay, and let's go there because in recent years, China has overtaken US. Okay, China has overtaken US to become the world's largest foreign direct investor in Africa. And sometimes I wonder why the US back out. Maybe US want to spend so much more money in their country. Because remember when Trump came in, it was what? American first. But Chinese has been spending a whole lot of money, and nobody spends money for free. Okay, they must want to have a return. Okay, so what is the motivation behind the rise of this investment and the extent of the similarities between African continent and of course the 20th century China? Is there a similarity? I keep wondering. There must be a reason because everybody sees Africa as a gold mine. Everybody sees Africa as that diamond in the dust. Everybody sees the opportunity in Africa except maybe the African government of the Africa, or even me myself, who left the continent. Of course, a whole lot of us are going back now, mass migration going back home, to get our own share. So guys, so very, very serious. what is it that is in Africa that a lot of people don't see? Because look at, even when Nigeria banned Twitter or suspended Twitter, look at the way, Twitter is trying every possible means to get back into that market. There's something unique about these African countries and the continent as a whole. So let's take a look and see. In economic terms, in 2013, this represented a very, very important period. So let's go back to the next image that was shared. Yeah, let's go to that next image. So let's look at that. So if you look at the, US billion dollars invested, and look at the time period. Okay? You see, China is the red line and America is the blue line. As far back as between 2008 to 2012, American investment was very high. They had to decline. And what happened? The Chinese investment began to skyrocket. And when it got to 2017, 2018, it became so much investment in Africa. And that's why I'm taking on a journey, because I started from 2015. So we're going to look at recent data. And these are recent data that actually shows that, not just since 2013, the investment from China has been flowing into Africa, into various sectors. Okay? So what are the similarities between Africa and China? And I stored some of this information I had to share with you, because in 1978, over 40 years ago, okay, when China began its policy of reform and opening up, this is when Chinese began to open up. They became a manufacturing powerhouse, okay. They're no longer closed the way North Korea is closed right now. And what happened? It housed a population of 956 million. Over 40 years ago, they had 950 million with a median age of 21 years. So they have a very youthful population. They had the workforce, to go into that industrialization, to attract so many companies into the country to become a manufacturing powerhouse. Okay, Africa today is inhabited by 1.3 billion people. 1.3 billion people. Of course, China is almost about almost a billion, over a billion. But that is a country. Africa is a continent. We just have what? 1.3 billion. And Africa, the continent is alone, can swallow Europe and part of North America. So this is a very huge landmass. And look at the population. That's today. And what's the median age of the African population? 19 years old. Very young, energetic, youthful population. 19 years old, as at now. Okay. Massive young, low-cost labor force, eager to learn, and they are desperate for the pursuit of a better life. Nigerian youths are not lazy. They are eager. They're looking for opportunities, you understand? Because they're very eager to learn, and they're very smart. They say an idle mind is a devil's workshop. You don't give them jobs. They will create jobs for themselves. And that's the kind of jobs we actually want the youth to do. We want to build up the continent. We want industrialization. We want infrastructure. The population is there. So is there a similarity? Is it what China is seeing that, if they look back, their history is very important, guys. If they look back in their history, did they notice that where Africa is today is where they were when they started to industrialize? So are they trying to take an advantage and say, let's begin to invest in this continent now so we can have a competitive advantage, okay? So that we know this youthful population, they are beginning to help us manufacture, etc. I don't know, but you be the judge. So the last few images I showed you was in the past, as far back as 2015, But we're going to take a look at the China recent investment. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break, guys. Let's take a quick break and let's take a look at, when we come back, we'll take a look at some of the recent investment. You sit back, I'll be right back.
Are you craving some home-cooked African meals but are missing the authentic ingredients? No worries. Head over to Dunamis Food online groceries at www.mydunamisfood.com to check out our collection of the best quality African and Caribbean foods. From swallows to spices to meats and produce, expect top quality customer service and have your groceries delivered to your door when you shop at Dunamis Food. Don't forget, go to www.mydunamisfood.com and get a taste of home. It'll be like you never left. Dunamis Food, keeping you smiling always. Nous vous gardons toujours le sourire.
Yeah, so as I was saying, Chinese has been investing a lot, so there's something we must be seeing in Africa that, a whole lot of Africans or a whole lot of African government are not seeing. And that's why we have this topic today. Who are the Chinese investors in Africa? Are these Chinese private businesses? Are the Chinese government itself? Chinese private account for 90% of the total number of Chinese companies invest in Africa. Wow, that is I didn't know that. So when I saw that number, I was shocked, because we always thought that was the Chinese government itself. But because remember, when the government comes and invests, they are making sure that you are paving way for companies from their country to come and be able to invest as well. That's why they're providing the enabling environment. So 90%, 70% of the value of Chinese foreign direct which accounts for 70% of the Chinese foreign direct investment, okay? Because 90% of the Chinese companies are the one actually investing in Africa. According to the Chinese Ministry of Commerce, by the end of 2010, the number of Chinese companies operating in the continent was 1,955 in 2010, okay? In 2010, this is 2020 now, okay? With more than 100 state-owned companies. So Chinese government companies were about 100, private companies was, almost 2,000 about a decade ago, okay? Which of course has probably increased significantly by now, because as you can see on the graph on the screen, they are investing even more now in 2018, okay? And of course, they began to decline in 2019. Why? Because of COVID. We definitely understand that, okay? But make no mistake, Chinese state-owned businesses, okay, state-owned enterprises are still the largest investor in Africa by value. And they continue to dominate where? Energy, which is very, very crucial in any country. Transportation, which is very, very important for movement of goods and people. And of course, resources, precious mineral, your metals and etc. Okay, due to the strategic nature and long-haul return of this investment, of course. So for instance, 1/3 of Africa's power grid, 1/3 of Africa's power grid and energy infrastructure has been financed and constructed by Chinese state-owned companies since 2010. So it's a give and take. So I have to give you this data so you can actually understand, the magnitude of the investment, the focus, the reason behind it, and what is the benefit to parties, if any. Okay, China does not invest in Africa alone. Why do I say that? I'm going to show you another image. China doesn't invest in Africa alone. They invest everywhere. Because they say it's a communist country, you understand, but we know that this is all part of capitalism. You need to make money. So some of the research we did, we now begin to find out, we have some data back in 2014. Because why 2014? Because we're looking at significant investment in various sectors in various countries that are not African countries. And you can see in agriculture, they invested in Netherlands about 1.2 billion. In Netherlands, in agriculture. And of course, in Portugal as well, they invested in the financial industry, about 1.36 billion. In energy, they invested in Bolivia, about $240 million US. Not only in Bolivia, even in Canada as well. They invested 1.24 billion in Canada in energy. I think they probably acquired a couple of businesses and whatnot in that particular sector. Transportation as well. If you go to Bangladesh, they built a railway for Bangladesh. China Railway Engineering, which is probably a state-owned company, spent 1.55 billion in transport. When it comes to metals, okay, not only did they invest in Africa, they also invested in Australia, 860 million. And of course, in real estate, Chinese Communication Construction, which I believe is a state-owned as well, invested 160 million in Iran. So they invest in various countries, you understand, but obviously Africa being an emerging market, being the future labor force, because they're going to have the most population with the most youthful, energetic population. Maybe that's why China is going there. I don't know, you be the judge, but I have to share this information with you. But I'm going to go straight to, what are the 5 reasons why Chinese, foreign direct investment is actually flowing to Africa. And this was a very, very wonderful analysis that came out, but it's not mine, okay? And this is from London School of Economics. There was a senior visiting fellow there. Shirley Yu explains the motivation behind the rise of Chinese investment and the extent and similarities between African continent and China. I don't know, you be the judge. I'm just going to share the information with you. So what this report actually said from this professor from London School of Economics said is that reason 1, China no longer has a labor premium. What does that mean? What she said is that China is aging at a high speed. Okay? Because remember, for a long time, the population was exploding. They had the one-child policy that is no longer in effect. But what does it mean for the entire population, the Chinese population? China will become a deeply aged society by 2050. By 2050, which is about what? In 28 years, or in 29 years, China will be deeply aged. Median age is expected to be 51. Wow, they're going to have a lot of older population, which means they will not have that labor force anymore to be able to sustain their industrialization, etc. So what does that mean? In comparison, it's expected to be 43 in the US, median age in the US in 2050, and of course 47 in EU. By 2060, By 2060, 1/3 of Chinese citizens will be older than 65, making China one of the most aged countries in the world. By 2034, which is about what? Less than 15 years, Africa's labor force is going to surpass that of China and India combined. The two largest countries, China, the two countries with the largest population, China and India, in 15 years' time, the African population, labor force, we actually surpass that of China and India combined. By 2050, African population is expected to be 2.5 billion, while China population will decline to below 1 billion. Wow. With these figures in mind, Africa's young labor force is exactly what China's labor-intensive manufacturing is seeking for. So this is one of the reasons that this professor gave why China is investing heavily in Africa, to take advantage of our youthful population, as a manufacturing powerhouse. So I don't know how this is going to work, how it's going to do. They're going to help industrialize Africa, use the labor, do manufacturing, and then sell the produce. I don't know the arrangement with the government. I don't know what's going on. But these are some of the speculation. There are some of the thoughts going towards there. Okay, so I don't know how this resonates with you, but I have to share that with you. Let's go to reason number 2. Reason number 2, China is no longer low cost. China is not how. Okay, China's per capita, which is gross domestic product, GDP, hit $11,000 in 2020, just last year. That is very, very high. Okay, cost of living in China is no longer cheap. I see why there's mass migration out of there. Not just about the political structure, but cost of living is increasing. Okay. Now, placing that in the upper bound high middle income country, even almost high income country territory, because a GDP of $11,000 is a whole lot. Okay. Why? It no longer has the labor cost efficiency essential for middle to low income global supply chain. By contrast, Africa's GDP per capita is just 1,500 in 2019. That is, when compared to $11,000, that is a huge difference. Okay, cost of living is higher in China now. Okay, Africa is a bit cheap, and what that means is that Chinese companies are proactively integrating their global productions in demographic regions that resemble China's scale capacity, notably in the ASEAN economic area or economic union. Increasingly in Africa, considering China's relatively high labor costs and logistics expenses, it is much more appealing for Chinese companies to produce in Africa. I don't think it started right now. Maybe it started in some African countries. I have to investigate, because what does it mean? Is this now a marriage of benefit? Okay, maybe not, because if they are now looking at using the African labor force, because there is a whole lot of useful population looking for job, okay, and they are coming to bring in plant. They are bringing in plant. They have to bring in energy. So maybe that's why they are trying to own. Because remember, if Africa becomes the powerhouse in the next couple of decades, you understand, whoever owns the transportation, the sea, the energy, obviously, is king. Is this why I'm laughing? Because it's not that it's funny, but I'm just trying to rationalize it, and I hope you are doing the same thing with me. Let's go to the next point that this professor, stated why China is investing in Africa, heavily. The third point is that China has shifted from a large agrarian economy into the world's largest agriculture importer. Of course, they have to sustain their population, so they have to import, because what they are growing is not even enough. So maybe that's why Chinese are investing all over the world, going to countries where they can see arable lands to actually begin to produce. Because I noticed that in some African countries, we have Chinese farmers, okay? They may not be producing in large scale, but a whole lot of them are not producing for the local market. Okay, so let's go into this point. For example, the Chinese pork inflation hit over 100%, but just a few years last year, there was in pork inflation, okay, because Chinese, they like pork a lot. Food inflation was in double digits in 2020. I didn't even know all this, and I read this report, and I was a bit blown away. At the same time, China's rapid urbanization has taken much of the fertile land in China, okay, and people are moving from rural area to urban centers. Why? Because they are now looking for work, because there's no land to farm. And this is true, because I saw a documentary about some Chinese farmer in Africa, and they were complaining that there's no land in China. And even if there's the small piece that they see, if they are growing a particular produce and they are making profit, everyone else wants to grow the same produce, and they flood the market. So that's why they're all looking for new markets, new countries. So could this be the case that China's middle class is expected to balloon from 400 million to 800 million in 10 years' time? China's structural agricultural insufficiency is not only a destabilizer, but it's also a security threat. You need to feed the population. Okay. China is increasingly diversifying its agri-import from US to other economies. You can see the trade war they have with US, so they're trying to diversify, which is a smart move by the Chinese government. Okay, and Africa's agricultural trade with China is increasing, and China's agricultural technology investment in Africa is, of course, increasing. Serves both commercial and strategic purposes. Wow. So I think Chinese can see the future. If I was to believe this report, it means that Chinese is strategically placing themselves at a very good advantage. Of course, they have the money; they have to do that. Okay, nobody have money and put themselves at disadvantage. So let's be sincere. Let's call a spade a spade. Okay, let's go to the next reason. Reason number 4: China turns itself from the world's factory into the world's consumer market. They used to produce for everybody, but now they consume. Because remember, in China, there's two economies. There's the manufacturing economy for the local consumption, and there's the manufacturing economy for export. You have to know that. If you don't know that, now you know. Okay, and that's why I see a whole lot of small companies and businesses. The government fund them, so that way that is ready for export. Africa, Canada, North America, etc., wherever the goods are required. Okay, so China is no longer the world factory anymore. Africa's exports to China can only rise by investing in upstream production. So Chinese government need Africa to supply them, hence some of this investment. Is that true? You'll be the judge. So since 2000, China's trade with Africa has multiplied by 20, breaking into 200 billion in 2019. Okay, and its foreign direct investment into Africa has multiplied by 100, reaching 49 billion in 2019. Okay, China's foreign direct investment stock in Africa is now a total of 110 billion in 2019, contributing to over 20% of Africa's economic growth. 20% of Africa's economic growth. That is huge. That is huge. Come on, guys. That is huge. Okay, if I as an individual or as a business, okay, my business contribute 20% to the economy of a country, I'm considered very important, very vital. I become an essential person. Okay, guys. So this is why Chinese is being considered a friend of Africa. African government, some of the few countries that want to invest in Africa right now. And it's up to you to judge. Okay, so we show you, we showed you the first reason, second reason, third reason. We talk about the fourth reason because they are no longer the manufacturing powerhouse in the nearest future. And the last reason that Africa is a fast-growing consumer market. That is true. Africa has been a dumping ground for a whole lot of decades. Africa's population of 350 million middle class. So middle class are those that really have the purchasing power. Okay, which is comparable to China's 400 million. Africa's share of people living in urban areas was 40% in 2019, while the same rate of urbanization in China was about 55%. So the way Chinese, even though it's a communist country, there's a whole lot of millionaires. Okay, the middle class is increasing. They're having purchasing power. And money is king. You understand? Because money determines inflation. Because there's more money chasing few goods, inflation goes up. Okay, so I guess that's what is happening in China now. A rising middle class in Africa shares similar desire to consumers back home, with demand rising for smart city development, energy, consumption, education, entertainment, finance, and health. Savvy Chinese private companies are venturing into all these areas, exporting China's business model, intellectual property, technology to emerging markets like Africa. Wow. So guys, I hope this was very, very, beneficial to you. It opened my eyes a lot, because, look at the amount of money that's going to Africa. You think the Chinese government are stupid? They have too much money, they don't have nowhere to put it in, but they have to put it in Africa. They're not only investing in Africa, they're investing all over the world, but you can see a whole chunk of money, because we've been talking about billions since in Africa. Okay, but yeah, that's a continent. We understand that, because if you look at other continents as well, Europe and maybe Middle East, or like in Asian countries, I'm sure it might be close, it might be same, it might be more. I don't know, but we'll find out, and that's why we have the Spotlight Show. So, what are your thoughts? My job is to bring the data and facts to you. You have to make informed decisions. So, I want to say thank you as we come to the end of this show. Thank you so much, for spending your Sunday afternoon with me, for sitting back and watching this recording that's about over 20 minutes long. Sharing the videos and imparting everybody out there. Thank you so much. We'll be back same time next week, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's probably 8 p.m. in GMT or West African time, wherever you may be. But remember, you can be what you want to be. Okay, nobody can stop you. You just be a positive force. Let's build ourselves together. Let's be your brother's keeper and your sister's helper. I always tell you, multiple streams of income is the way to go. Okay, the day of one job for life is no longer secure. Nobody can actually boast and say, I have this job and I'm going to retire on this job. It's almost impossible nowadays because things happen so fast. But remember, start thinking of that business, those services, and then of course, I always say every week, network with like minds. Very, very important. Okay, manufacture produce. If you need help, reach out to me. Looking for investors, looking for collaborators. Why not send us an email, spotlight@gbkm.fm. If you want to be on this show as well, you have a product or a service you want people to know about. Why not? Let us be your mouthpiece, because we pride ourselves in GBKM as the mouthpiece of the community, guys. So let me leave you with this. Like I said, my email for the show is spotlight@gbkm.fm. Send us an email, and of course, reach out to me on social media at JBES, and I will try as much as possible to return your messages. So let me leave you with this. You are always in the spotlight. The change you see begins with you. Good night.
Yeah, this is Dr. Rod, the boss of all bosses, and if you don't know, then it's your losses. You're watching GBKM.TV. Yeah, this is Dr. Rod, the boss of all bosses, and if you don't know, then it's your losses. You're watching GBKM.TV. Yeah, this is Dr. Rod, the boss.
My name is Carol, and I'm currently a project coordinator. I took the project management course. I learned a number of things, one of which was interview skills. I learned about the Agile framework and how that's very different from the waterfall model of project management.
At Top Run